there's no way I would be trading zero DTE if it wasn't for this. Just because I have a visual roadmap and I can kind of get a sense of price action and flows for the entire day. So I do have a affiliate link for that. If interested, you can email me, chrispulverpub@gmail.com. chrispulverpub@gmail.com. Okay. So dynamic trend. And then I also use Tanuki Trade, which is the input on TradingView. This is real time. And this is a 15-minute. Well, it's a 15-minute update. It's not delayed necessarily, but it's a 15-minute update. But I have affiliate links for both. I think Tanuki Trade, I can save you 30%, and Dynamic Trend, I can save you like 70%. So if interested, you want to see this stuff with me and get the visual roadmaps on your own charts and plot your trades. Pairs well with a lot of short-term trading. This is pretty much what I focus on. This is now 55, 60% of the market is literally zero DTE. It's insane how important this is and how popular it is, and also how efficient it keeps the market. But it's also a lot of decisions. It's a lot of risk management, because you can win or lose. There's a lot of reward opportunities, and there's certainly, on the opposite side of that, there's risk. But I think we're doing pretty well, trading zero DTE and still winning about 90% of our trades. So I'll take that for sure. Okay. So if you want to send me the email, like I said, chrispulverpub@gmail.com, just reach out with those questions and I'll happily get back to you. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Okay. So we got the classroom masterclass at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. Pre-market, 0.23. I want you to see what happened in the futures market this morning. It was just a big fat candle up and down. Here is a 5-minute chart. Doesn't look like much right now, but I just want you to see what the candle itself did at 5, or at the 5-minute candle did at 8:30. So just a monster indecision candle. And I would imagine that today, tomorrow, you're likely going to see something like this. Are we going to stay in the range the entire day? I would think not. I mean, this is a 30-point range, plus or minus is 36. I would think that the markets can go somewhere else. So we just have a big range candle. If you're watching futures, you want to get a sense of where the indexes are going. If we break higher, you can look towards those gamma levels to the upside. If we're breaking lower, look to those gamma levels to the downside. But what's wild today is like the plus or minus is like 100 points. Like as far as the gamma levels go, not the market makers. Market makers are probably way underestimating today's price action, I would think. Plus minus 36. I mean, last time we had plus minus 50, it moved 80 to 90 points. So I think this is a big catalyst. I don't know what direction we're going to go. The market clearly wants to do everything it can to go higher. But like I said, this is that potential stagflation reading where job numbers are struggling and stalling, and we're getting higher inflation still. It's just an ugly headline. I think it's noise. I think it feeds into what this market needs, which is a bit of a correction. Okay. And unfortunately, this market just never wants to correct. So what can a correction do? Well, we can hit all-time highs and still correct. We haven't broken the structure yet. I said price levels to watch that would be key would be right here. If it breaks this low, we're clearly falling into moving averages. If we break this wedge or this trend line like so, it's just a matter of this rising wedge kind of rolling over into a correction, but it hasn't happened yet. And obviously, if it's not going to roll over today or tomorrow, then it's all about the Fed, and it's probably rolling over like Fed and post-Fed. So does that mean that I'm bearish? Not necessarily. It means that I'm looking to, catch the markets down here, looking for support down here. But I'm just ready. Like I'm ready for this market to have a little bit of a flush lower. The inflation data didn't impress. It's clearly going a little bit higher. Job numbers have been embarrassing. We've basically wiped out 900,000 jobs revised. So everyone's questioning everything. News doesn't make any sense. Nobody trusts the news anymore. All the reports we're getting on economic calendars are like, is it even real? Is it manipulated? Yeah, it's probably all highly manipulated. Who cares? Trade price. It's all noise. Trade price. So if we keep melting up, we'll keep melting up. We have a day like today where maybe there's some follow through. We break 63.60. We're probably going to fall another 100 or 200 points. Okay. It's okay. But we sit here and we grind. All right. So we got about 12 minutes for the open. Pretty big levels, top and bottom. We're opening up around 0.2% higher or so. I'm curious to see where prices go. I mean, we might have a nothing day, but I would imagine, after yesterday's gap, a little bit of containment. Um, I don't know why the market would just stay sideways for the day. Anything can happen on Thursday, but having these wider liquidity levels, we might have a flow lower, we might have a flow higher. I don't know. So I think the easier trade for me is going to be a defined risk reverse iron condor, which is going to look something like this. So here's my VIX. This will adjust based on the previous day's close. Let's make sure this is previous close. Yes. So I should be referencing right around 65.32. VIX value is 1478. So we'll put some tops and bottoms there, 14.78. So looking at like a 0.92% move. 65.32 should be the previous. So I'm just going to make that adjustment. We'll go manual and 65.32. That way I can just get a visual on it. There you go. So that's roughly going to be our, VIX high in yellow, VIX low in yellow. And let's measure our moves out for about a 0.92% move. So right in here, based on the close, 0.92% puts us around 65.90. So potential top of the day and 0.92. Depends on if the VIX picks up, but that puts us down to the lows around 64.72. So again, pretty decent call levels, put levels, resistance support at a wider liquidity mark. I mean, that covers about 100 points. We'll go 64.72. So we'll go 64.75, 64.70, potential bottom based on the previous day's close and then putting in that VIX box. So my indicators should be reflecting that as well. So there's our in the 90s, there's our in the 70s. So about 95 to 75 based on the VIX. ATR wise, if we open up a little bit, here's your 50% ATR, 100% ATR. I wouldn't imagine prices going too much higher than 100+%. And to the downside, if VIX picks up, we can obviously exceed, but rarely do we go, past the VIX or the 150-200. So I will say this: anytime, here's like an easy 0 to 1 day trade. Anytime we're to see price, gap lower and push down to like the 150 to 200, the market should be bouncing there. Anytime we gap and we hit 100 or we get to the 150 to 200, we rarely will cross above the VIX box, but there's the previous day's close as well as the open. And I kind of look at both levels because it's basically giving me like 2 resistance levels and 2 support levels. But on the ATR from the previous day's close, this market is extremely efficient and has been since summer of 2022. Zero DTE has offered a heightened level of liquidity and a heightened level of efficiency. And I think that if we ever see a trade where we have like the 150 or the 200% getting hit, it may not be perfect for that particular day, but it should be. I wouldn't be surprised if the market, if you could do a bear call spread here or a bear call spread here and you get paid on that really nicely, or bull put spread here, bull put spread here. Okay. But doing a 0 day or a 1 day, I would guess more than likely those are high percentage moves, because what would be happening for that trade to get into those levels of resistance and support is market makers would be losing the guardrails for the day. Easily. Like most of the time, the guardrails are going to be between like the 50% zones. That should be like the normal expected move. Your plus or minus on the day is going to be somewhere between the plus or minus 50% ATR. Okay. So, and I say, percentage wise, because now you can use any volatility environment. So if we have crazy high volatility, the 50% ATRs are still technical levels. 100% can be hit, but they're still kind of respected because you're not going to see the VIX box be violated, right? But you get to the extreme moves, this is when you start to see like the big slingshots one way or the other. So just throwing that out there, like as we have these daily sessions, if we ever get into these high levels, I certainly like to sell and sell. Like I like to sell premium at good credit levels off these extremes and going out for same day or going out next day and letting price kind of cooperate, because usually it will. because what I've seen a lot of is if like we do have a losing day, if like, 1 out of 10 times we have a losing day, usually the next day we get it right back and the market makers contain price. They just kind of roll risk for a day or two. And then we see like very cooperative, choppy price action. And these, levels go from overextended to then they fit the bill of this just a guardrail again. Make sense? Okay. All right. We have 7 minutes before the open. I think I'm all caught up on questions. We're good. All right. So we've got VIX at 1474, potential top and bottom, pretty wide range for liquidity today. So here is pre-market, and I kind of have things kind of evenly distributed where, we're running into a lot of call levels. I'd say if we do gap a little bit higher, call resistance. This pivot could be pretty important here around 65.25. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if price is actually going to flow lower for the day. Maybe it tries to get back to the all-time highs again. Maybe it breaks the all-time highs before it starts to fade. I mean, that kind of seems to be the MO this market has had these last few weeks is it's trying to grind higher and then it fades off the highs, grind higher, fade off the highs, grind higher, fade off the highs, right? Non-farm was kind of that way to the extreme. This was non-farm. We gapped higher, sold off a ton. We spent the entire time clawing back. And yesterday's PPI news was enough to thrust it to all-time highs again. So one big sell-off is just not enough to deter this market. It's not enough to derail it. So even this price action from yesterday, are we going to be gapping higher, testing higher, gapping higher, falling? I don't know. But if there's direction here, I mean, this high was 56, low at 15. I mean, that's a 40-point move, right? That's 40 points. So if we're opening here and I can get a 15 to 20 wide dead zone, I might just take that trade where as long as price moves at least 15 or 20 points, I can get paid. And I'll either take that trade for today or tomorrow's expiration, right? So I would hope that we have some direction, and it's not just going to stay right up here going into the end of the week. Greg Daily ATR. I mean, I've got indicators for that. You can search any basic indicator suite as well. Your average true range is going to be on most broker platforms. You'll have it in there. I'm using a 5-period ATR, by the way. That's my preference. When selling a one, let's make sure that makes sense there, JC. When selling a 0 DTE, do I select the next day? Well, that'd be a 1 DTE. So if you're selling a 0 DTE, make sure it's today's expiration. If you're selling a 1 DTE, that would be tomorrow's expiration. So a 0 DTE is going to be September 11th. That's today. And then a 1 DTE would be the 12th. Okay. All right. Got about 4 minutes for the open. Let me make sure I'm catching up on some comments here. Sorry, I just got a couple comments here before we go for trading. Yep. 1 second, Nate. All right, give me 1 second. Sorry, this jumping into opening playbook at 10. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Where'd that go? All right. I think I've got everything. All right, I think I'm good. Sorry. Just a lot of classes coming at one time. So let me make sure I got all the questions here. Video 7 new indicator. Yes. I'm going to add like another 2 to 3 minutes to the video. I posted it yesterday, but I had to add a little piece to my Thinkorswim as far as making sure that now you have my whole workspace, you have my entire chart, you have the indicator saved exactly how I have it. Swim, my chart with this indicator will pop up as a separate chart pop up. So you can have it on every day. You can delete it. You can use other workspaces for any other Thinkorswim indicator bundles or combinations you have. So I'll finish that up today. But here we go. Opening bell. Looking for a little bit of a gap higher. Futures up around 0.3%. So there it is, 65.54. I'm going to look to jump in for today and tomorrow's expiration, see if I can get something like maybe 20 wide here. See if we can get 620 for this trade. This is for today's expiration. Let's see what happens. Got filled for 620 on a 20 wide. Okay, so trades coming right into daily profit alerts. Hopefully price actually feels like moving today. I'm going to go out today and tomorrow. So SPX new trade. SPX. It is the 11th expiration. Sell to 65.45. 65.50. Sell to 65.65 and 65.60. And that is a 620 credit. So that's a 3.80 max risk and a 120 max profit. I want price to be greater than 65.65 or less than 65.45 for today. Okay, that trade is in. I'm going to go out to tomorrow as well. I know these are coming kind of fast and furious, but I'm looking to see if price actually wants to go somewhere today, up or down. I don't really care. We're sitting at around the 50% ATR today. And let me see what tomorrow similar trade looks like. If I went 45.50, 65.60, get 570 for that one. Let's see if I get like 590. Just because I'm going out more time. Try 585 for tomorrow. I will try to leave this one at. If it's not going to fill, I'm not going to take that trade. So I'm in for today. I'm in for today. So we have another gap up, and we're sitting right at all-time highs. Here we are. Do we have enough plus or minus in the day to get us up into like the 65, 85, 90 zone for a sell? Let's find out. So I could do, 65, 90, 95. That's a nice little expected move. We got plus or minus 33 on the day. Let's go 85 by 90. I'll take that trade. I'm going to go $1.30. Oops, that's tomorrow. Sorry, don't do that trade. I was wondering why that premium was so good. There we go. So now I've got the 80 by 85. Let's go 80 by 85. I'm going to try to get 65, 80, 85 for $1. So that fills for a buck. I'm doing a bear call spread. And then I'll go 90 by 95 for $1 as a bear call spread. So 2 pending orders coming in the chart are the trade alerts right now. So pending alerts, pending orders. SPX 6580, 6585. Pending, not filled. And let's go 6590. 6595. Not filled. All right, so 2 pending orders in the alert. So 1 trade is in, 2 trades are pending. Yep. So Pete, if you want to join, you're just looking to join my daily profit play alerts. That's a private Telegram channel. So everything I'm doing, I'm just posting it right here for members. Here's the trade that I'm in. Here are the 2 trades that are posted. Look, man, it is 0 DT. So I just want you to think like we do this every day. So when I'm talking through like, okay, I'm going to do this trade or this trade or this strategy, we have done this 400 plus times in the last year. So there's plenty of repetition. So I know like when I get into the trade in the first couple of minutes, I know that everything seems like it moves very quickly. But it's like I came into the day with a game plan. I'm hoping that I can execute within the first couple minutes of opening bell, and then we let price just kind of do its thing. Okay. All right. So first trade that I have at 620 is filled. That trade right now is trading for about $6. So, I mean, again, if you could take it for 605, 610, 620 is a good fill. I'm pretty happy with that overall. That does keep the risk pretty tight today. And, gamma levels, here is my 50% ATR. A couple levels I'd be watching for key spots. We're right around that 50% ATR right now. My question is, are we going up to the 100% ATR today, or are we dropping back down to fill the gap? I don't know. I don't care. As long as we move 20 points, I can get paid. Right. So I'm hoping that price makes a decision today, and it's not just going to sit here at these highs. It actually decides to go lower or higher. So I need price to be below 45, which is right here. Okay. So 45 here or 65 here. As long as price is below this or above this later in the day, not necessarily immediately in the morning, but later in the day, I should be able to turn that first trade into a nice winner. Okay. All right. Let me make sure I'm getting some comments here. Okay. Very good. Okay. Gil says $6 credit, exit at 3. No, that's not the way that trade's going to work. That trade's going to be a max credit exit at $5. So it's an interesting trade. I'll show you how this one works. I'll build this out into option strat. I'll show you the visuals on this one. Okay. So the spread itself is $5 wide. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm collecting the excess credit on top of that. So if I'm building this out, let me just go Iron Condor, but I'm gonna switch this up on SPX. So here's what the trade is gonna look like. It's an expiration for today. I'm doing it's an in the money trade, so I'm going 45 here by 50, and then I'm going 65 by 60. Okay, so this is what the trade looks like. So I get filled for 630 bucks, and the risk is going to be $5. $5 minus 6.30 is going to be a dollar. No, that's not right. That's what I can make on the trade. So my max profit, sorry. My max profit is the 6.30 minus $5, which is going to equal $1.30. That's my max profit. And then my max risk is the $5 wide minus that excess credit. So $1.30, which means my max risk is $3.70. So what this essentially is I'm turning a range trade inside out. And as long as price stays out of this 20-point dead zone, I have the $1.30 profit here. If price goes down, all the way down, I've got a $1.30 profit. And if price goes up, I get a $1.30 profit. Okay. And then here's my 370 risk. So that's what the trade looks like, right? I mean, if price moves today and price moves at least 20 points up or down, this trade gets me paid. Now, this trade usually doesn't pay me the very first thing in the morning. This trade usually takes until, 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And that's, if price moves. If price all day, and here's, I'll show you in real time. So watch this this is today's trading. So let's go to like noon today. So if I go to noon, okay. So here's what's kind of cool. If we are up, this is 12 noon today. If price on the SPX is higher than 65.65, we are getting most of our profit on the upside of this trade, which I think is really interesting. So we could realize profit pretty soon by 12 p.m. today. If price is greater than 65.65, we're going to get most of our profit there. Okay. So if we have a decent move up, which would have to be price has to go up about 15 points or so, we could see a decent chunk of profit on this trade. In fact, this is kind of crazy the way that the price action works out, but we could actually get an excess of 130. But this will settle down as the day goes on. You see that little excess bullish profit will come back down to be your 130 by the end of the day. So it kind of takes advantage of some intraday volatility, and mostly you can see that to the upside. So there's kind of a way you can cheer this market on to go up for the day or go down for the day. On the downside, if the market's going to fall, watching this green shaded zone, if the market falls aggressively, if we're down below like 6,500, we're going to start seeing some profit pretty early in the day. You get to the afternoon, let's go to like 1 p.m. today. So by 1 p.m., if we are at 65 or higher, we could see some excess credit there, which is kind of nice. If we're below 65.15, we're going to start seeing some profit here as well. Let's go to 2 p.m. Okay, by 2 p.m. today, if we're at 65.20 or lower, we're going to start to see some profit on this trade. Okay, now again, all we really have to cover is that dead zone between 45 and 65. But we still have excess credit on the upside, and we have the put side that starts to fill in, and we get more and more profit as the day unfolds, as long as price is below 65.20. Okay, Keith, 610. Can you get filled to 605? It's still defined risk. I would be okay with the trade still accepting $6. Okay, $6 is okay. You get $1 profit. You're risking $4. That's an okay trade. Okay, Mike, trade got posted in Telegram. You can see it right here. I've got the 45 by 50 call, 65 by 60 puts. They're both in the money. It provides, this is the look of the trade. That's the look. But what's kind of interesting about this trade is as the day unfolds, if the market is higher, if the market moves higher, we actually have like excess profit and then it levels off. We can get paid on the upside very easily, early in the day. But if price is falling, it does take a little bit more time for us to get paid what we want. I want, if I can have a max credit of $1, I guess I'm in $1. I got filled for 620, right? Did I do that math wrong? 620. Yeah, I'm at 620. Sorry. So I'll put this up again. So I can do $1.20 here, $1.20 here, and this would be 380 dead zone. So if price SPX is less than 6545, I have up to $120 profit. If SPX is greater than 6565, have $1.20 and upwards of $2 profit. We can actually get an excess on that, which I think is kind of cool, right? So this could get up to like $1.90 to $2 credit. Okay. But as the day unfolds, I mean, the upside gets you paid a little bit faster. If price is falling, you just need price to fall enough and stay down there that by the time we're coming into closing bell, we cover the dead zone. And that is that 20-point dead zone. So as long as price decides from start to finish today, it's going to move at least 20 points, then we should be good. But I usually don't hold these trades all the way to expiration. I'm usually taking of that $1.20 that I can make today. If I could pull $80 out of this, $90, $100, that's what I'm going to try to get. Okay. So if you're in for $6 or in for 610 or in for 620, I'm happy setting a debit at like 520. I think that gets filled if it settles at, I mean, $5 would be great. That's kind of almost max profit. We're going into this side, you get a little bit of profit on the upside, but it's going to completely be dependent on what price does. If price is not going up today, that extra surplus is not going to be achievable. So you're better off taking that 120 and trying to close out for a 620 credit, maybe a 530, 520, 515 debit. Okay. And again, I'll update that as I'm managing the trades today. I'll update all that stuff. Okay. This trade, it should only cost you the max risk on this trade, Chuck. If you got filled for $1.20, the max risk would be 380. So I don't know if you only have $500 and that's like all you have to trade with. I would ask you to not take this trade. I mean, that's essentially all or nothing. Or if you're just getting started with a Tasty Trade account and you're going to put more into it, I mean, yeah, I just want to make sure like you're using good capital here. But we're looking at like a $380 to $400 max risk. Okay. So I'm looking for profit. Look, if I can pull in a max profit of $1.20, that's my likely max profit. If I can pull $100 out of this, I'm pretty happy. So if I can max out here around $1.20, I pull out, 90 cents, I'm happy. 80 cents, I'm mediocre set. Like I'm pseudo satisfied. $100 would be pretty good. That would be making 100 out of 120. That's pulling out 80+% of that max credit. I'm pretty happy with that for the day. Especially with a lot of times, my standard daily profit play, we're happy at, 20, 25%. So if I can pull that out of the max credit, that's pretty good. Okay. And price so far has decided it's not doing much. Still pretty choppy right at the previous all-time highs. I'm going to go ahead and box in my 65. So if we're at 65 today or higher, or we're at 45 today or lower, I mean, that's my dead zone today. So if price is above this or below this, that's good. I would hope that it's going to be above or below this by the end of the day, whether that is, down here to fill the gap, Maybe down here to have the same type of range trade as yesterday, which was we started higher, we just faded through the day. We'll see what price ends up doing for the remainder. But overall risk is still defined, so I'll take it from there. Okay. All right, still starting to have some green on the day, which is good. Taking a look at some of my levels, we're right around that 50% ATR right now with that gap higher. Between the 50 and the 100, my pending orders, by the way, that haven't been filled yet, the 65.80 by 85, that's for $1, that hasn't filled yet. 65.90 and 95 for $1, that is above. That's pretty much at or above the 100% ATR. So I'm kind of hopeful that's going to be a struggle for the market to get there today. So I'm hoping that if we run up into these resistance levels, we get there, but we ultimately give it back. The market can still celebrate all-time highs, which it's sitting right at them right now. So if we hit all-time highs, there's your major headline. But as we watch price unfold for today and tomorrow, does it go down, back to a positive, negative gamma flip zone? Tomorrow's another day. Next week is all about the Fed. It's all about the Fed next week. Okay. All right. So two pending orders for daily profit play, 80, 85, 90, 95, and then one trade that's in for six. I mean, if you got $6, that's still acceptable. 605, 610, 615, 620, those are all acceptable as far as fills. Okay. No other major news that I see on the calendar today. Let's go here. So all eyes on CPI. Unemployment claims did come in. So jobless claims were better, but unemployment claims were higher. So again, this is that idea. It's like, is the market going to start throwing out like, stagflation narratives? I mean, probably. It just wants to make everyone worried. It wants to. I mean, look at how bad sentiment is. This has still been like the most ridiculous. This has been the most ridiculous sentiment year I've seen in a long time. We have sentiment that is so bearish and so concerned, which is also why the market probably refuses to go down. I'm so serious when this market loves to push the pain thresholds. So what is everyone feeling? Everyone feels like the market's going to be bearish. And what does the stock price do instead? It goes up. So, what I'd be more concerned with is all of a sudden sentiment switches to bullish and we see this red bar drop down to like 30 and we see the green bar jump up to like 35 or 40. That's where I'd be more worried about the market topping out. 1 year bullish highs at 50. If we get that bullish again at all-time highs at 50%, I'm calling a top. Because I feel like now everybody's on board, everyone's bullish, and usually that sentiment is so late to the game. So it's just been this consistent negative sentiment where the market's like, we're just not going to make everyone happy. It's just this like constant contrarian, especially when sentiment's very, very contrarian when it comes to sentiment. Okay. No, Mark, I didn't do the regular. If you want to do the regular, the mechanics. I'm not doing a regular today. I'm looking for a little bit more direction. We had highs and lows on the gamma that was like 100 points wide. So I'm looking to see, can this market move at least 20 points? So my standard is actually the inverse. I did the inverse trade today. Like we've talked about, because my standard, I like to do those primarily on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then getting a sense of direction for, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But so far, I mean, the market is clearly stalled for 32 minutes. It's been pretty calm. So not much is going on. Price action wise today, it's like we're just quiet for 22 minutes. If you did I don't know, maybe a 5 wide or 10 wide daily profit play, you're probably looking at some small profit right now since we are right back where we opened. So if you send it off of opening bell, it's looking pretty good. VIX still isn't really doing anything impressive. Here's 10-minute VIX. Still down. So, and look, the day is still quite young, right? So another melt up day. Well, would it surprise anybody right now that we've had, a 3% correction, find all time highs, a 2% correction, find all time highs, a 2% correction, find all time highs? Would it surprise anybody if we find more all time highs? Probably not. So, and may the melt up continue. But I am, I mean, look, this chart is broken if we are not pulling back to this by, I would think by the end of the month. Okay, I just got one of my credit spreads filled. It should be my 80-85 just got filled. So I'll update that. So that's a 65, 80, and 85 pair call spread filled. Okay. So I'll update that in Telegram. So the 80-85 is now filled. That filled at 954. The other one's still pending. So I have the 80-85. And I have the inverse. So we get some profit running here. I'll keep an eye on it. Profit running here. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll manage these through the day. If we got the dollar in and we can pull out 50 bucks, like we did yesterday, a quick 50 bucks would be great. If obviously I see price turning harder to the downside, then I might try to hang on to it for like 70, 75, $80. If I'm confident the market's not going to come back above 80 for the day, then I'll hold it all the way to expiration. But anytime I'm getting these like intraday trades, if I can pull out, 50% or better, I'm usually liking those trades. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'm going to manage it, for a dollar. I'll try to take, 70 cents, 80 cents profit out of it. Same thing for this one. If I've got a max 120 and I can take 80, 90 cents a dollar, I'll look at managing both those trades. So on the day, if I get these trades right, I'm hoping that between, these two, I can get 100 to 150 bucks profit today. All right. And sorry that I've got to go at a little bit earlier time today. I don't want us to feel like I'm leaving y'all hanging. I'm going to jump into the opening playbook here in just a couple of minutes, but we've got prices to manage. We got trades in. Here's the net result. Okay. So I have a 80 by 85. So right here at 80. And here's my 65. And here's my 45. Okay. So these three levels, here's what it means. I'm going to kind of box this level in. If price is above or below this box, that's where I'm keeping some profit on the reverse iron condor. And if we're getting, I want to see price lower than 6580. Okay. And I want to see price outside of this box for right now. So if the sweet spot is, well, price wants to push higher. If I can see some early profit here, I might take this trade off first. So I can close out for profit here, and then I'm looking to see if market makers will do their job with price here, opening bell. Do we get hopefully less than the expected move, less than the market maker move? We're already up around 35 points from yesterday's close. From today's open, we open up around 50 and change. We open up at 55 or at 65. So we only move 10 points. Okay. And ATR wise, I mean, 100% ATR. right here. So we're moving 50+% now. Let's see if we get up into the 100 plus. I'm still interested in kind of fading the 100% ATR or the VIX box high, and it might just sprinkle in a couple more trades by the day. If I'm going to fade, here's kind of full transparency on Daily Profit Play. If I'm going to fade some of these moves, I'm probably not going to do a 0 DTE, because that's where I got burned the last couple of weeks. If I was fading intraday and the market decided for the whole day it wants to do this, up, 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 and close there, and then the next day it goes down. So if I'm going to fade this, I'm probably looking at a Friday expiration and see if the market will respond, where we go excessive market maker move today, they roll the risk out to Friday, and then they come back and fix the guardrails on Friday. Sometimes we've been seeing the market do that. Okay. All right. So Daily Profit Play members, keep an eye on the alerts today. We have trade in and we have trade in. I will manage these trades. I will update these in Telegram. I'm watching this. My butt is on this chair all day. Okay. So trades are in. Risk is assessed. We know what's going on. We've got our, call levels up here, potential top around 90. I'm going to see if I get filled for a couple of these levels. Hopefully we are not going to be thwarted by the market makers today by stretching, again, above a 150% ATR, but could we get to the 100 plus? Sure. We could hit 100 here around 78, hit 100 and then fall back down, right? We could hit 100. We could hit the VIX box at 93 and then fall back down. I'm hoping the market responds to some type of resistance today, as opposed to going all day and closing at highs. Okay. Any questions? So if you'd like to join, I'm just going to pivot into opening playbook. If you'd like to join, I'll share the link. Deanna, do you have that link, by the way? Do you have the link for opening playbook where everyone can join? I know Nate's going to be in there right now. David just sent me a couple links. So I'll pop over there. I'll hop in a few minutes. Let's go this. There we go. And we'll follow along. All right. It's just a lot going on today. Okay. Nice, Vivek. That's a good trade. I like that trade. Okay. If you want to take a quick snapshot of this, that 100% ATR is around 65.82. I am hopeful that if we're going to get to, 80 plus today, hopefully the first trade that I took is going to show some of that profit right away. If we kind of linger up here for the day and then we fall back down, I mean, I just want to see it greater than 65 and somehow at the end of the day, less than 80. If that's, maybe wishful thinking, if I'm kind of threading the needle today, it is what it is. But I'm sticking with that for right now. And again, just like, may the melt up continue. It's all it is. And this is so much on the buy the rumor, sell the news. I don't think could be any more true than coming into the Fed next week, that this market's like push it up, push it up, push it up, push it up, push it up. And then after the Fed, I just feel like the necessary technical correction of the market flushing down a little bit. It's just probably the timing, it's going to be post Fed. And I just anticipate a lot more volatility ahead. So the 100% ATR is right up here towards 65.80. 65.82 is my 100%. Yep. Okay. So that is right around 80. My call resistance is lining up in the 70s, 75s, 80s. So if this is call resistance, I mean, this is what happens with these gamma levels. is it kind of acts as a magnet, prices up into these areas, but does it act as resistance for the rest of the day? Does it get up to the high and just kind of stall here? I mean, that's okay. Maybe we can be greater than 65, but less than 80, and price goes sideways, and I can take profit on both today. That's a very realistic result. Okay. So, all right. I've got to bounce to opening playbook. This will be continued. Okay. So look for Telegram updates and daily profit play. I'm sorry that I'm cutting the trade off or the session off today, but jumping into another session to a tag team with Nate and Graham. So if you want to join opening playbook, you're all welcome to continue on with this. And then if you're in daily profit play, I'll update in Telegram. We do have a master class today at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So all members of daily profit play, new and OG members, all are welcome to join me in the master class today at 1 p.m. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.